Hello, everyone. My name is Acting Sergeant Good. I want to welcome you to Ask Me Anything. Today, I'm joined with a special guest. We've got Uniform Recruitment Outreach Liaison, Liz Coretti. How are you doing today, Liz?
I'm doing great.
Can you
Thanks
hear
for
me?
having me on your special AMA show.
Hi, Liz. How are you doing today in Aurelia?
We're doing great. Yeah, we're doing awesome. How are you doing
Awesome.
up in Thessalon, Caitlin?
I'm doing great. I think we have a little bit of a delay here, so we'll just. Can you hear me right now, Liz?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So, Liz, you're out of Aurelia at our general headquarters, correct?
Correct. Yes, I am indeed.
Awesome. So, could you tell me just a little bit about your position and what you do in uniform recruitment?
100%. So, my main responsibility is to plan different events throughout the province. So, I plan OPP hosted events. So, some of our large events that we do in all of the different regions, and then also partner with a lot of our community partners to engage with the people that we serve in various capacities. And we go out into the community to join them at the events that they host to encourage people to apply to the OPP.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how to make the most out of the events that you attend. So we have a lot of events that are going on around the province over the next month. I think I saw like 8 or 9 events going on so far that are posted, which is amazing. I don't think we've ever had this many events listed on our website. And to have a look at them, if you want to see the events that we do have going on, go to opp.ca/careers. And if you scroll right to the bottom, all the events are listed there. So, Liz, what events are you going to be attending? Are you going to be attending any in the GTA or in the Central Region?
100% actually. This weekend, we're going to be hosting OPP Bound North Edition. So I'm super excited about that. Congratulations to all of you who are chosen to attend that amazing event in Thunder Bay. So can't wait to meet you all tomorrow. Other than that, we have some really large scale events coming up. We just posted yesterday, May 23rd. We're going to be at the Woodbine Event Center in Toronto, and that's going to be a big open house style of event, a large OPP Career Expo, where you'll have the opportunity to come and see all the various career options that the OPP has to offer, whether it be on the uniform or the civilian side of the house. There is definitely an opportunity for you. So we encourage you to just drop on in. You don't need a registration to come. It'll be between the hours of 11 to 4 p.m. So that'll be one of our large scale events coming up. And then we have lots of shuttle runs planned throughout the province. So definitely log on to opp.ca/events and you'll be able to see everything listed and get your registration all ready to go.
Awesome. Thanks. So I know that when I go to events and I'm speaking to people that are looking to apply to the OPP, there's always very similar questions that people ask me. I know the top question that I get tends to be, do I need to be a Canadian citizen? And it's great if you're a Canadian citizen, but we also accept someone with their PR, so their permanent residencies. So that's one of the questions that I've noticed. Are there any questions that you've noticed at these big events that people have asked you that are really common?
For sure. So I feel like we do have a lot of questions on repeat. So some of the main ones that we'll run through is, do you need police foundations in order to apply? So the answer is no. It is definitely a nice to have. You'll get amazing transferable skills from that program. However, it's not a minimum requirement. You can go onto our website, check out our minimum requirements. But for the education piece, it is a high school diploma at the bare minimum. And then any additional education is always encouraged. We encourage continuous education, constant learning before you get on and while you're on the job as well. So that's one of the main ones. We also get asked all the time in regards to employment about having a security background. Once again, nice to have, amazing transferable skills, but it's not a minimum requirement. you can work anywhere, show consistency, show great work ethic, and it'll be amazing transferable skills, I'm sure, from any job that you may have. And then honestly, the last one, the big one, is how do I apply? Go on to opp.ca/careers, go under uniform recruitment, and you will see on the sworn members side under the police constable profile, you'll see exactly how to apply. The big apply now button, that's the one you're looking for. But honestly, most of our repeat questions can all be answered on opp.ca/careers. And there'll be lots and lots of opportunity to learn more about the career, about how to apply, about the application process, all on our website. And then, of course, you could also come and visit us at one of our amazing events, and then you can get some of your questions answered there as well.
And I love that you're saying go to the opp.ca/careers website, because there's so much information on there for people. A suggestion that I give everyone before they come to one of our events is do your homework. Look at the website, come up with some questions. Maybe, I know a lot of people, they write them down in their phone under the notes section. They'll write down some questions that they're thinking of. So do that. Prepare yourself so that when you do get face to face with a recruiter or one of our civilian members, you're able to ask those really important questions that you've been waiting to ask them, and you don't forget them at that time. So I know we have a lot of events coming up. What's the benefit of going to an in-person event?
100%. So I think number one, you get to meet the team, meet the recruiters. Not only are we assessing you, but you should be assessing us. See if it's an amazing fit for you to come and join the OPP. So come on out, ask your questions, get to learn from their experiences, hear their stories, hear about duration postings perhaps, and learn about the North and know about different opportunities that there is up there. The opportunity to network, get maybe some of your personal questions asked. I do see even a question in the chat asking about shuttle runs. So yes, you can submit a video of your shuttle run. 100% we encourage that. But if there's an event near you where we're hosting the shuttle run, come on out and get the opportunity to give that a try. So there's just so many benefits of coming to actually see us in person, so that you can learn a little bit more about us and see if we're the right fit for your next step in your career.
Awesome. So yeah, I see that question there about the shuttle run and how to get involved with it. So I know that you're going to be at the shuttle runs. I know that we have recruiters all over the province that are going to be at shuttle runs. So again, go there. You can ask questions to people that are running the event, maybe after the event, once it's not as crazy busy. Stick around. You can ask those questions that you have. And it's a great way to meet other people that are going through the process too, that you might be able to network with and go through the process together. And maybe they've done their interview and you haven't, and you can kind of talk to them about what to expect, which is a great way to network. So I see there's some other questions. Liz, do you have any suggestions to anyone that's coming to our events at all?
Definitely. I think mostly is be prepared. There's an amazing tool on OPP website where it's called the self-assessment tool. It's awesome. You get the opportunity to take a little bit of time to recognize your strengths and weaknesses and look at where you're at. We want you to be at your competitive best before you apply. That self-assessment tool will help you for your application and then throughout the entire hiring process. So I think that's definitely something I would recommend. Before you come out to an event, do some self-reflection, go on opp.ca/careers, learn a little bit more about the OPP, see if it's a great fit for yourself, and then come on out and join us. Get the opportunity to speak with all of us, ask any additional questions that you can't find on our Q&As, the frequently asked questions page, and then you could always join us on our AMAs as well, where we go through plenty of questions too. But that in-person connection is just really special. And then we get to know a little bit about you and you get to know a little bit about us.
Awesome. And another thing, when you go to one of our OPP events, you never know if the person that's going to be interviewing you in the end is going to be at those events. So it's kind of nice to put like a face to the name before you have an interview. So that's one thing that I really like, because sometimes I end up meeting somebody at an event and then all of a sudden I hear they've gone through the process, and that's pretty cool to hear that. So Liz, one last question for you before I know you have something to get to today. So one last question I have for you. You had mentioned you're going to the OPP Bound North Edition this weekend. tell me a little bit about what's going to happen at this event, what people can expect at these events, just so that they know that if one comes up in the future, maybe it's something they might be interested in applying to.
100%. So our bound events are generally speaking over a few days, and there is many different components. So the first section of the agenda generally is a little bit more about information giving, learning about the OPP, learning about how to apply, what are the opportunities that are there. We have lots of specialty units that come out that you can get to interact with, start to build that avenue, see which what journey you want to go down within the OPP. And then you have the opportunity as well. There is some cultural pieces, especially for the OPP Bound North Edition, where we get to learn a little bit about the communities that we'll be serving. And then the second day is going to be mostly on wellness. So that'll be going over mental and physical wellness. We get the opportunity to run the shuttle run. And then, of course, if you hit level 7 or higher, you'll get that certificate, which will be valid for 30 days to apply to us and be exempted from submitting the very first shuttle run video. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to learn, network, and interact with the OPP in so many different capacities. So OPP Bound events will be coming up a few more throughout the year. So definitely look out for those, as it's an awesome opportunity for you to come out to.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, safe travels to Thunder Bay this weekend. And if anyone's heading out there, I guess say hi to them for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and enjoy the rest of the AMA, everyone.
Okay, so we have a few questions that have come in here. So, hi, Tenzin. So you've asked right now about the cadet program and when's it going to be opening for applications. So we're hoping to have a cadet class at the end of the year. We're not sure exactly when the applications when we're gonna open up the portal for the applications, but I will keep you up to date on that with the AMAs. As we have a date, we will keep you up to date with that and let you know when the date is going to be. But we are planning on having a cadet class towards the end of the year. Got somebody mentioning that they got a letter and got offered auxiliary, which is a great opportunity to volunteer and kind of get your feet wet. And it's a great stepping stone to becoming a constable. And they're wondering if they can jump from auxiliary to constable before 1 year. So if you are unsuccessful in the recruitment process to be a constable and you've been offered an auxiliary position, again, with that letter, you do have to wait a year to reapply to be a constable from the date that you receive that letter. So say you get involved with our auxiliary program, you get some experience, do some community service with us and volunteering with us and learn about being an officer. Absolutely. After a year, after it's been a year from the date that you received your letter saying that you were not successful, to be a regular recruit, you can reapply to be a regular recruit at that time. But again, you know what? We really appreciate the auxiliary members. We really want to have good people that are willing to volunteer in our communities. And it's a great experience to really get involved and go out with officers and see what the calls for service are that they have. And depending on where you're working, you can do many community events. Okay. So how long are the reference letters valid for? They got theirs signed and dated last year, and they were unable to apply until this year. So you know what? If contact your references, just speak to them, make sure they're still willing to be your references. If they're unwilling to provide you with another reference letter, then obviously I wouldn't include them as one of your references. But just reach out to them, let them know that you're applying again. More than likely someone will give you a more up-to-date reference letter. And obviously it's better if it's within a year, but we aren't going to turn away a reference letter if somebody's still willing to be your reference. So someone mentioned they made it to the last step and they got a rejection letter. So you know what? Don't think of it as a rejection letter. Think of it as an opportunity to potentially improve yourself, and kind of look at where you um, maybe had a weakness. You never know. Throughout the process, we do psychological testing throughout the process. We have people that are talking to all your references, background. So there's a bunch of steps that are going on behind the scenes when you have applied. So it could be anywhere within that step that maybe you fell short somewhere. So don't get discouraged if you do received a letter or a email. Keep if this is something that you're really passionate about, kind of reflect on yourself and all the 10 areas of assessment. If there's one spot that you think that you can improve, work on that, reapply after a year. So there's a lot of really good questions coming up here. So there's someone saying they have no experience being a police officer, but they think with training they can achieve it. And they're asking if we accept inexperienced personnel without English in your ranks. So obviously, English is one of our minimum requirements. We need you to be proficient in speaking, reading, and writing English. So if you are from, I think that this person is from Mexico, it says. We love to see people from all areas applying. We like to have a diverse officers in the OPP. So if you are unable to speak English, maybe take some English courses, work on that, and then once you are proficient, then apply. You don't need any experience whatsoever in being a police officer. You don't need any law security experience, as Liz spoke about earlier. We do have all of our minimum requirements listed on our website, opp.ca/careers, under the regular recruit. So have a look at that. And if you meet those minimum requirements and you feel that you have looked at the 10 areas of assessment that we are looking at and you are competitive, then go ahead and apply. So somebody's mentioning that they were told that they were deferred by psych from another service. So if you were unsuccessful at any time in our process, it's 1 year that you have to wait before you can reapply. And sometimes police services do share psych testing, but that's not all of them. So again, 1 year if you are told that you are unsuccessful anywhere in the process, and that's with the OPP. Somebody's Meadows saying that what if she can't make it to an event because there aren't any in her area. There's information sessions that we do online. So have a look on our website. Again, posted on the upcoming events. Some of them will say online. So have a look at that. And we have, I don't know where you're located, but we do have events again all over the province, and there's going to be more coming up with the spring and summer seasons. We do tend to get out a lot more to communities and go to events. A lot of the time there are outdoor events in the summer. So have a look at our website, keep checking up on it. They're updated daily, all the events that we do have coming up, and we have events right now posted up until the end of June, or the end of May, sorry. So just keep checking our website and we might have something in your area down the road. So Matthew has asked, what is policing like in the North? And what detachments in the Northeast are you currently recruiting for? So policing in the North, it's similar to policing everywhere else. It depends on where you are. Some communities are obviously a little bit busier than others, depending on the population. I find that in Northern Ontario, people want to talk to you, Whereas down south, I was working in highway safety division, and I found that I would stop someone and I'd never see them ever again. Whereas up where I am, I'm in between Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury right now. So in Thessalon, Ontario, I find that if I stop somebody on the side of the road, or there's a disabled vehicle on the side of the road, or I'm just going downtown doing some foot patrol, if I see people or talk to anyone, they want to talk to me. They want to talk about what's going on in the community. They want to know what's going on in the detachment, what's going on in East Algoma. So they're really curious to know what's going on, and they want to know upcoming events, things like that. Whereas when I was down south, I found that I wasn't as much community policing. Again, I was in highway safety division when I was down there, so it wasn't a general duties detachment. But that's kind of my experience. In the north, we have communities that are spaced out pretty far, depending on where you are policing. The closest detachment to where I currently am is about a half an hour to my east and about an hour to my west. So backup is further away, and you don't have as many officers working in these areas. So it's different. I love it. I wouldn't go back down south just because of now I've started a family up here, but I really, really do enjoy policing in the north, and I feel that you really get a different experience. That's for sure. Different communities, a lot. One thing I've really noticed since COVID is that in the north, a lot of people are moving up from Southern Ontario because there's more affordable housing. So when I do go to calls for service, I like to ask people if I don't recognize them, where they came from, if they moved from Southern Ontario, and I have noticed a lot more people have been moving up. So that's great as well. Somebody had asked also what the highlight of my career is. You know what? I've had many great opportunities that the OPP has provided me with. One of my recent highlights was going and running from Toronto to Ottawa in kind of a relay with other officers from all over Ontario in the Police Memorial Run. And it was amazing experience seeing other law enforcement officers from all over and just talking to them about their experiences and making it to Ottawa at the end of the 3 or 4 day run and all being there and just experiencing it together was a great opportunity. So that is definitely one of my recent highlights of my career. Okay. So is there anything, so Meadow's back on here, is there anything that surprised you about the job that you didn't expect before you started? You know what? When I first started, I didn't have any experience in law enforcement. To be honest, I didn't really know what to expect. I had completed 2 ride-alongs beforehand, so I kind of knew the area that I wanted to police in. But I had no idea what to expect. Really, before I started, it's been great experience. Getting a chance to police in the Northeast region, getting a chance to police in HSD, and then going up and policing in some of the Indigenous communities up north. It's been a great opportunity that I've been provided with. But things I didn't really expect was getting opportunities to police in different jurisdictions. With the OPP, one great thing is if there's one area that's short, we can go and we can police in those areas. If they require overtime, you can apply to work in those areas. So it's a great opportunity to see different parts of the province that you might not have seen before. I had the opportunity to go up to Pikanchicum First Nation and police up there for two-week stints, and it was an amazing opportunity to work with officers from all over the province, live in the police station where I was working, and just seeing the community and how the people in Pikanchicum were living. So that was another great opportunity, but just something that I didn't expect I would get the opportunity to experience before I came on. So Jalen was asking me to reflect from when I was recruit. And what I thought about attending the Provincial Police Academy. So when I first came on, I remember arriving at the Provincial Police Academy, and everyone was really scared. They didn't know what to expect. They had heard rumors. Everyone was dressed in their suits, super excited, but also extremely scared because, again, the unknown is sometimes scary for people. I remember getting there and having to learn how to make my bed, polish my boots when I finally got them, and working as a team, as a class, to successfully do certain tasks. And you know what? It was a good opportunity to bond as a class. I know there's people that were in my class that were previous cadets. There was people in my class that had law enforcement backgrounds and that had taken police foundations. I myself had no knowledge whatsoever of policing, so it was a challenge. I didn't know the difference between the criminal code and the Highway Traffic Act at the time, so that was a lot. It was a lot to learn, but in the end, everyone was really supportive and everyone wanted you to succeed. So they worked really hard with you if you were struggling in one area to make sure that you understood it, that you were able to pass certain things and succeed. The OPP, when they hire you, they see something in you and they want you to succeed. They want you to be successful. So they are willing to put in that time and effort into you. So Lizzie Core has asked, what outreach sessions do you find most helpful? You know what? I think that these AMAs are a great opportunity for people to ask questions. Some great outreach sessions that we do have are the ones where you can just go and speak to a recruiter at a smaller event. So not these large scale events where you have tons of people around. Smaller ones in smaller communities where you were able to go and talk to a recruiter maybe for an hour and tell them about yourself and maybe get their opinion on if you're ready to apply. As a recruiter, I know that I go to career fairs. I know I go and do shuttle runs. And after, we always find ourselves in these great conversations with people that are looking to apply. And we're willing to give you our email address so that if you do have questions down the road, we can follow up with you. But I feel like these smaller events where you're able to actually talk to a recruiter or a recruitment ambassador or one of our members that's been through this experience, the recruitment experience, that's by far the best outreach session to go to. So opportunities for having a G2. So you need to have your full G license to be an auxiliary member and to be a regular recruit. But if you want to apply to be a cadet, you can have your G2 license and apply. Again, on our website, we will be opening up applications at some point this year, probably in the summer at some point for the cadet program. But right now, it is closed. So again, I will keep you up to date when we do have a date on that. Meadow mentioned they have a degree in business. Does that meet the educational requirements? Absolutely, it does. Again, I went to university for sport and physical education. I no background in policing or law enforcement. Minimum requirement is grade 12 or the equivalency. If it's from another country, that's fine as long as you get the equivalency papers done, just so that we know that it's equivalent to the Ontario grade 12. Somebody was in the prison service in the United Kingdom. Do you need to be a citizen of Canada? No, you do not, but you do need to have your permanent residency to apply. So it's either Canadian citizen or permanent residence to apply to be a police officer with us. Somebody's mentioning it's their last day to send in their shuttle run video. I'm assuming that's within your 1 week. So you know what, if it's within your 1 week, don't stress out about it. Do your best to get it done today. If you can't, send it in when you can, as long as it's within that. This is your first 1 week to send it in, and we will have a look at it. Just make sure that you contact us at the email address that was provided to you, just to keep us up to date so that we know what's going on. Meadows asking the difference between regular recruit and cadet. So a regular recruit is a regular constable police officer that's answering calls for service, working on the road, going to the Ontario Police College. A cadet is somebody it's kind of like a stepping stone to becoming a constable. It's really targeted for somebody that's maybe just graduated college or university, or in college, university, or just finished high school, 18 years old, has their G2, is interested in policing, maybe doesn't know for sure if that's what they want to do, but has an interest in it. Somebody that might be passionate about policing, but maybe doesn't meet all the minimum requirements at this time. So the one big difference in the qualifications, the minimum ones to apply, is that you can have your G2 to apply to it. The great thing about the cadet program, we have them all over the province. Certain detachments hire cadets, and they give students opportunities to work part-time during their studies. So they could work full-time during the summer, then part-time during their studies during the school year, and then go back and work full-time during the summer. Again, it's a 1-year contract. It's not a permanent position. So again, it's like I said earlier, it is a stepping stone to becoming a constable, a great way to get your foot in the door, get that experience, see if policing is really for you. And it will give you so many tools and experience that will help you become a better police officer, and will actually help you through the process, because you kind of know the ins and outs of the OPP. So it's an amazing opportunity. Again, I will let you know when we hear about the portal being open for you to apply. So Eve's asked about OPC. Was it overwhelming learning the criminal code, federal, provincial laws? So you know what, at the beginning, when you first get there, you get into your routine. So you meet a lot of new people, you get put together with police officers, or people that are training to be police officers from all different police services. So you're moving away from home. If this is something that you haven't done before, it could be overwhelming. I know when I went through, I just came right out of university. So I was used to living away from home, living in a dorm with other people, and I was used to studying. So for me, it wasn't a big stressful, overwhelming experience to kind of dive right into. But if you've been out of school for a few years, it could be. My suggestion is figure out the way that you study. If you've been out of school for a while, figure out the way that you study before you go there, so that when you get there, you're confident in knowing how you learn things, so that it's just going through the actions at that time. Eve's also asked about how it was keeping up with my physical fitness when I was away from home. So the one thing that you can prepare yourself for in policing and applying to the OPP and going to OPC and the academy is your physical fitness. You know the tests that we will be doing with you. So that's the shuttle run, that's doing the pin test, and the prep test. The prep test is the mandatory physical requirement and minimum requirement to pass the Ontario Police College. So make sure that if you've never done it before, see if there's something in your area where you can try it out. If you are in college and maybe there's a Police Foundations program, maybe you can see if you can go in there and try it out, or maybe you are in Police Foundations, keep trying that out. Physical fitness is the thing that you can actually prepare for, because you know what these tests are and you know if you can do them or not successfully. Another thing is running. That's something that you can do from home. You don't need any equipment. You can do it on your road. You can do it on a treadmill if you go to the gym. There's plenty of places that you can do this free of charge if you do it in your community on the road. So prepare to run a lot. I know that when I went to the Ontario Police College, physical fitness was not the thing that I really struggled with, because that was something that I already was very passionate about, studying for police or studying sport and physical education. And I was into running, so that wasn't something that I struggled with. It was more the learning the federal stats, the provincial stats, and going through all the courses. So that was something that I had to work at when I was there. So I have someone here that's saying they, again, have a business diploma. Congratulations. That's awesome. Their academic grades are not that strong. And they're interested in the auxiliary program and wondering if their academic performance would significantly impact their eligibility in the role. They're also considering taking police foundations, and they're wondering if it would be beneficial. Absolutely. You know what? Having the background in and knowledge in policing does help for sure. And if you're concerned about your grades, of course, going to college and being successful at it, getting good grades, that is something that we do look at throughout the process. When we're looking at your application, we are looking at your high school marks. We're looking at your college, university marks. We're looking to see, have you failed courses? Have you done well in courses? If you were unsuccessful in courses, how did you improve? Did you take that course again and get 90% in it? Or did you just say, I'm done with that? So these are things that we do look at. And that's for auxiliary, that's for regular recruit, that's for if you apply to be a cadet. We are looking at your education no matter what. But if there's a reason why you were unsuccessful, why you didn't do well, we listen to your reasoning as well. So we just need you to articulate yourself and tell us what's going on. And we, in the end, just want to make sure that you will be successful in learning, that you will be successful if you are accepted or if you are hired as a regular recruit at OPC, and you are able to achieve the minimum standard to pass all the tests at the Ontario Police College. Policing is a career where we are continuously learning. So regularly we are taking courses online. They are sending us e-learning modules that we have to complete. So this is something that is ongoing throughout a career. Things are constantly changing. So you have to be willing to adapt and learn new things as a police officer. Lots of questions about the cadet program. Again, once I know, I will let you know. So we have somebody asking about volunteering and their experience. So there's no minimum requirement for the amount of hours we want you to be volunteering. Again, we want to know that you're actively involved in your community, that you are a good role model in your community, that you set a good example, that you are getting involved in your community, whether that's taking a friend's children to a sporting event, whether that's watching somebody's dog or children and not getting paid for it, helping shovel your neighbor's driveway, cutting their lawn, just being a good person in your community. And that's what we're looking for. If it's been a few years since you've volunteered, I'm sure there is something that you have done over the past few years that you can put down. And if there isn't, then start getting involved now. Now's the time to do it. Don't just start doing it the day before you apply to us. Make sure that you have volunteered before you apply to us. But again, if that's the one thing that's holding you back from applying, don't stress out about it. If you feel that you are at your competitive best in every other area, and maybe there's a reason why you haven't been able to volunteer, then that's fine as well. We just want you to articulate yourself. Somebody's asking if Canadian high school is mandatory for someone who did high school in a different country. No, as long as your high school in the other country is equivalent to our high school in Canada, and you've graduated it, then that's totally fine. Somebody's asking about relocation and finding a home in a new detachment. So when you apply to the OPP, again, if we offer you a position and it's not in an area that you currently live in, you're going to have to find, if it's not commutable, you're going to have to find a place to stay there. Or again, you can commute far distances if you want. That's totally up to you. The OPP, my suggestion is that you reach out to the detachment that you've been posted to, and they will give you suggestions on places that are good to rent, houses, maybe areas that you should be looking at houses. And you never know, maybe there's an officer that's at the detachment that's looking to rent out a room, things like that. So do your research, call the detachment. The OPP does not pay for your rent. But then again, if you're going to Northern Ontario, some of our detachments in the Northwest, I'm not sure if there's any maybe there's one in the Northeast, Moosonee. There are government housing opportunities there. And again, you will be paying rent to stay in these residences or apartments, but reach out to those detachments and you'll get a little more information. Once you complete a duration posting, the OPP will pay for you to move to another place if you are looking to transfer, say, down to Southern Ontario. If you've completed, say, a 5-year duration in Elliott Lake and you want to go to Sault Ste. Marie, as long as it's over a certain amount of kilometers, the OPP will pay for the moving of all your property. They will help with some lawyer's fees. So there's tons of things that the OPP's relocation unit will cover. And again, that's something that we don't do initially right away, but that is something that is done after the fact. So somebody's asked if they are deferred and they are told to reapply. How is the OPP looking at their new application? Do these applications have a better shot, specifically if they made it to the end? So if you are unsuccessful with us and you reapply, then we will be looking at your next application and seeing how you have changed, how you've improved yourself, what you have done since your last application. Those are big things that we will be looking at. So, for example, if you don't have a lot of community service hours and that's something that you kind of see as one of your weaknesses, make sure that you get a lot of community service from the time that you last applied to the next time that you applied. If you are lacking in maybe your educational area because you only took high school and you got 50% in high school, just passed it, maybe take some courses. There's plenty of courses online through other universities. There's some free ones online. The OPP has some challenges, Be the Bridge Challenge, Inclusion Insights. I know I've heard a lot of people do these CPKN courses online. Those are courses to show us that you are willing to continuously learn. And if you are successful in completing these courses, that just shows that you are determined, that you're able to potentially successfully pass OPC. We understand that, especially if you're applying and this is a second career, maybe you were in high school 20 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, that things have changed, that maybe you've matured. So we just want to see what you've done since then. There's also other things with education, such as through your work. Maybe through work, you've taken some courses, done some training. Maybe you became a forklift operator, or maybe you took a course in, maybe you're a child and family service worker, and maybe you took some special courses there with interviewing children, things like that. So the fact that you've taken those courses, those are things that you can also add in your educational section. So again, the thing we will be looking at is the difference between your first application and the most recent one that you've completed. So make sure that you do improve any areas where you think that you are lacking. Okay. So Stephanie's mentioning about resources for writing a resume and a cover letter. You know what, Stephanie? The main thing that we're looking at, obviously you need your cover letter, your resume. The main thing is your application. That's, as a recruiter, I'm going to be looking at everything that you've put in there. Make sure that you put down every little thing. Sometimes people leave things out from their resume to their application. Make sure every single job you've ever worked is on there. Even if this is, you were delivering catalogs as a kid, or you delivered newspapers as a child, make sure those are down on your application, because that's what we are looking at. With your resume and cover letter, of course, we will be looking at it. There's plenty of programs. I know that Word has some where they're just templates that you can kind of put information in. But my suggestion to most people is, if you decide that you want to be a police officer, say you're in high school, you're in early college, start an Excel document marking down any volunteer experience you've done, any extra courses you've done. Sometimes people take extra, or they will take some language courses. Sometimes you will get involved in big community events. Write those down. Write down who the person is that's running this event, so that when we go back and look for a reference to speak to about these events, then you have that information there. And just keeping track of that'll just help you in the long run. So again, the way to make the most out of an OPP event is to come prepared. Write down any questions you may have. These AMAs are amazing. We do them every so often, once, twice a month. So you do have opportunities to ask us questions here. But when you go to an event in person, it's nice because you can speak face to face with one of our recruiters or one of our recruitment ambassadors, or even an officer that works at a local detachment, and talk to them about what it's like to police in those areas. So again, do your homework, prepare your questions that you are going to ask, and just go to as many as you can if you're thinking about applying, because you never know what you're going to learn from maybe an officer, a recruiter, or maybe somebody else that's there has some questions that you might have had or that you didn't think of asking. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I know that Liz has logged off now, but thank you, Liz, for joining us today and providing us with so much valuable information. I wish everyone all the best this week, and look forward to hopefully seeing you at one of our upcoming recruitment events over the next